Hello and welcome to Castle for One Games. I am George Castle and today I'll be playing Age of Innovation, designed by Helge Ostertag. This is a 1 to 4 player game, but today I'll be going over an unofficial solo mode called Soloma. This is just to help you get an idea of different ways to play this game from a solitaire perspective. So, let's dive in. Alright, welcome to Age of Innovation, a Terra Mystica game, where you will try to build and expand throughout the land through these terrain hexes with the help of your chosen faction. Today I've chosen the Desert as my player board and Blessed is my faction. Now I decided not to record the official Anima because I thought that Edward's YouTube video from his Heavy Cardboard channel did an amazing job explaining the official rules and the playthrough. So I'll post a link below in the description of that video for you to reference. But I also wanted to try out a couple of unofficial solitaire variants for those days where I just don't feel like having to relearn or refresh somewhat of a heavy Anima, and I decided to record a couple of rounds of this particular solo variant just because I really enjoyed it, and so I thought I'd share it with you. And I'll add a link on the description below of those rules that I posted on BGG. And I got the idea from a solitaire mode designed by Carrot on BGG called Fastima, and I'll post a link of his rules below as well. They're both pretty easy to manage and they just provide you with more time back for you to focus on your moves instead. This one is just a beat your own score, so you're just playing to explore the game really. Now for some, the game's official Anima may not be heavy at all to manage, but this video is dedicated to those that may find it more challenging and just want something lighter to play with. Now I'm going to play a couple of rounds to give you an idea of how this variant is managed. So let's get started with the setup. So let's start with the setup. Now this variant requires the same 2-player setup that you'll find in the rulebook. You have your selected standard round score tiles, not the ones used on the official Anima. Like this one that has this symbol on it, those are placed back in the box. I added the final round score tiles that's used only for the 2-player game, and it gets flipped after the end of the 5th round to reveal how many interconnected buildings you have throughout the board. In this variant, all you have to do is just reach that number and you get the first place reward of 18 points. Then we reduce 3 buildings from that requirement to get second place for 12 points. And finally, we reduce 3 more buildings to reach the 3rd place and 6 points. I have my 3 book action tiles here at the bottom of the board. I've placed all 12 competency tiles, and because it's just me, there's only 1 copy of each. I've got my 6 innovation tiles set up here. I have 4 palace tiles for when I build my palace. And I have 4 round bonus tiles with 1 money on each. And of course, everything you see here has been randomly selected. Oh, and don't forget to hide the science bonus on the right side of this tile with a round squared tile. I've also got my status marker and each of the discipline tracks, each one on level 0, including Soloma's markers. Now for the 2-player game, you will need to move the red markers up each of the tracks matching the same number of discipline points you see here on each of these round scoring tiles. So you have 3 on this one, plus 2 more from this one for the law discipline track. So we're going to move 5 spaces up this level for a total of 7. 6 levels for the medicine discipline. That means we'll move up to level 8 for this track. There is only 1 on the banking discipline, so it moves to level 3. And there are none for the engineering, so it stays at level 2. I've placed my status marker on space 20 of the scoring track. I'm also playing version 2 of Soloma, so that means I'll be using the turn order display as well. So I've placed both our turn order markers here. And player always starts first, so I'll be at the top. Now, onto my player board. As mentioned before, I have selected the desert terrain and my faction is Blessed. And her ability is to assimilate as if I had 3 more levels for the tracks matching the current round tile. So on the first round, I get a scholar for every 3 spaces I progress up the law track. So if I was on level 3 by the end of this round, I would get 1 scholar. But because I have Blessed, it would count as if I had 6, without actually moving my status marker to that level. So I would get 2 scholars instead. and I get to terraform with one spade away from my native hex. Now, this will occur after I place my 2 starting workshops. And I get to move up 1 space for each of the tracks thanks to my faction. And now I need to select one of these round bonus tiles. And I think I'm going to go with this one here first, so I can get income right away, because I'm pretty behind on my power, and power can get you out of jams. And now it's time for me to place my 2 workshops on the board. I get to place one on any of my native hex. Since my native terrain is desert, I'm going to choose to place one here just because I'm closer to the river. And then I'm going to place one on this spot because eventually I'm going to want to build 2 cities. And then right at the end of the game, I'm going to want to connect them. Now, I need to be careful that I don't increase my reach through sailing too early, just because I might accidentally connect both of my groups of buildings before they can even become cities, and then I miss out on some pretty good bonuses, which I've done before. And now I'm going to take advantage of that starting spade I was given to terraform any terrain 1 spade away, as noticed here in this dial. And I've decided to place it here. Finally, we're going to go ahead and set aside the solo deck with the 6 starting automa cards. Now these are numbered 1 through 6, and if you're playing the version 1 of the Soloma, then you would discard number 5 from the deck and put it back in the box because that's not going to be used for that solo variant. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to go ahead and play all 6 starting cards. Alright, we're now ready for round number 1. Alright, before I take my first action, I did remember to give myself my starting resources from my planning display. 3 tools and 15 money that I should have added during setup. Now, we always start with phase 1, which is the income phase. And my round bonus tile gives me 4 power tokens and 2 money, which means I'll move 4 of my power tokens from bowl number 1 to bowl number 2. And then I'm going to receive 2 money. And finally, my exposed spaces on my player board that provide income are also collected at this time. So I'll receive an additional 3 tools from my workshop I placed during setup. We will now move on to phase 2. Now, the first thing we want to always consider before we perform any actions, however, is the round scoring tiles. And in this round, we can earn 2 points for each workshop we build on the board. We also want to move up the law track, the blue one, so we can get some scholars at the end of the round. And before I start my first normal action, I want to perform my free action, which is to discard 3 of my power tokens from the game, so that I can move over 3 tokens to my bowl number 3, which will allow me to spend them as soon as now if I need to. And that's what this symbol here means. Discard any of my power tokens from the game and move that same number of tokens to bowl 3. So I'm going to spend them to gain a scholar from the bottom bonus spaces here. So let's place an X token and cover this action space. And now that I've gained a scholar, I'm going to place it here, which indicates that I can use it on my next turn. And that's my action. It's now Soloma's turn. So we'll go ahead and draw its first action card. And as you can see on this card, we always want to reference the right side panel of the card, which is considered the action side. And we ignore everything else. And specifically just for this solo variant, this symbol means I will treat it as a pass action, but really Soloma does not pass. It just cheats and uses it to compete for turn order. It will continue to play throughout the round until I pass. So it will continue to play throughout the round until I pass. But that's Soloma's first action. It's now back to me. So for my next action, I'm going to use the scholar that I just earned to level up on the science display board. And I'm thinking of going up that law track we talked about earlier so that I can start gaining more scholars at the end of the round. And I want to start with using this level 3 space. So that's going to be up to level 4. And since I passed one of these powered token bonuses, I'll get to move one of my power tokens from bowl number 1 to bowl number 2. And now it's back to the AI. So let's flip one of its cards, and this one indicates that it will remove one of the innovation tiles from this board. However, it only performs this action if it's round 3 through 6, and because we're in round 1, it will not perform this action. Instead, it will use the next action symbol below it, which means that it will advance on any one of the discipline tracks, 1 space, without having to use a scholar. And again, I decide which track it will go up. And I'm going to choose the engineering track since I'm not really motivated to play that one for now. So it will move to level 1. And now back to me. And for this next action, I want to build. So let's pay 1 tool and 2 money. And place it on this desert terrain hex. And because I met the requirement for this scoring tile, I get to add 2 points. So let's move the scoring marker over to 22 points. And now it's back to Soloma. So let's flip the next card, and this one indicates that it wants to upgrade one of its existing buildings that it has built. However, in this case, it hasn't built any, so it will not be able to upgrade anything for this action. Basically, it will skip its turn. And now, back to me. And I didn't really have a great start, so I think I'm going to just have to pass. Now, when I pass, the AI passes as well. And what happens when we pass? A couple of things need to be performed. I'm going to gain any bonuses from my round bonus tile, but in this case, they were used during the income phase, so instead, I'm going to just swap for another one. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one, since I'll be focusing on upgrading, and try to double up on my points next round. Now, something to consider when you're playing multiplayer is that you have to flip this tile over because it indicates that you've passed. And even though I'm playing solo, it's still a good habit to get into, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Since Soloma got to gain that first turn for next round, I'll place mine just underneath it for second in turn order. Okay, we have officially entered the third and final phase of the round. We will first want to see if we qualify to gain a bonus from the round scoring tile. In this case, it requires 3 levels to gain 1 scholar. I am on level 4 of the law track, so I'll get at least 1. However, because of my faction's ability, I am on level 7 without even having to move my tracker. So that means I'll actually get to claim 2 of them. So I'll go ahead and get my 2 scholars, and I like to place them here to indicate that they are now eligible to be used during my next action turns. And the next thing we do is remove any of the X tokens from the bottom of the board if there are any. And in this case, I have one where I gained my scholar earlier. And then we're going to add a coin to the round bonus tile I replaced. And finally, we're going to flip over the round score tile, indicating that round 1 is now complete. And to start off round 2, we want to consider round 2 scoring tile, which indicates that for every 4 levels up the medicine track, I will gain a free terraform action at the end of the round. And with my faction, I count it as if there were 3 more levels, so I'm highly motivated to completing this task. So now we move back to phase 1, which is the income phase. I like to start with my round bonus tile, and this one provides me with 3 energy power tokens. So I'll be able to move over to bowl number 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and receive 4 tools from all the exposed workshop spaces I have at the bottom of my board. Alright, now let's move to phase 2, which is the action phase. This time we're going to start with Soloma because it won first in turn order. So let's go ahead and flip this card. And this symbol means that Soloma will place a scholar on any of the tracks that I choose. However, if there is a 3 space value available, I must place it there first. And in this case, there are 3 of them. So I'll go ahead and choose to add it to the engineering track, which will end up on level 4. And the turn is back to me. The first thing I want to do is terraform and build. So I'll terraform first, and I'm going to place my desert terrain next to my building here as I'm trying to form my city. And then I'm going to place my next workshop on top of that terrain. So I'll need to pay 4 of my tools for the workshop and 3 of my spade or terraform action. And then I'll pay 2 money for the workshop as well. And now it's back to the AI. So let's go ahead and flip the next card, and this time it's going to build. And it just builds. It doesn't terraform. And it can basically build anywhere on the board regardless of terrain, as long as there's not one that's already occupied. So we'll go ahead and place it between 2 of my workshops here. And that will provide me with 2 power tokens to be moved in my player board. but that means it will cost me 1 of my points. Now, this is optional, but I'm going to go ahead and choose it to spend at least 1 point to gain those 2 energy tokens. And now the turn is back to me. And I've decided to upgrade one of my workshops. And because there's already an opponent's workshop there next to mine, I don't have to spend the 6 coins, I only have to spend 3. So I'll go ahead and replace my workshop with my guild. Now, because I've upgraded in this round, that means that I will gain 3 points from the round scoring tile and 3 points from my round bonus tile. All right, and since I upgraded, I'll go ahead and pay the 2 tools and the 3 money. Now back to the AI. All right, let's go ahead and flip the next one, and this one indicates that it will place 2 X tokens. One has to be on one of the first 3 books, and the other one can be on any of the power token tiles. So let's go ahead and cover up the 6 coin reward for the books and cover the bridge for the power token side. And now it's back to me. So I'm going to move one of my scholars onto the medicine track on space number 3. That will move me up 3 levels to level 4. I'm going to get the energy token from that. So now I have 3 ready to be spent. And that was my action. Back to the AI. However, Soloma no longer has cards to draw from, so we'll need to reshuffle them. All right, the upgrade symbol came up, which means it will upgrade the only workshop that's odd on the board, and now I have the option to take 3 energy tokens for the price of 2 of my points, and I'll go ahead and take it. And now it's back to me. I'm going to spend 4 of my energy tokens to gain 2 more tools. Let's cover that up with the X tile. And that was my action. Now back to Soloma. All right, the next card we draw is again to build, so we'll place 1 next to this building, which will gain me 1 more token for free. And now back to me. And again, I'm going to upgrade. I only have to spend 3 coins because I'm near an opponent's building. That's going to cost me 2 tools and 3 coins. And because I upgraded in this round, I will gain 3 points from the round score tile. And another 3 more from the bonus tile. And now back to the AI. On this next flip, Soloma has decided to add one of its scholars to the last 3 level space, which is on this bank track. So let's go ahead and move this up to level 4. All right, now back to me. And I'm going to place my last scholar on this value 2 space, bringing me to level 6. And I also passed my power token bonus, so I get 2 of those. And now back to the AI. So it looks like it will place 2 more X tiles, and I'm going to choose to block the first one of the books and terraforming with 1 spade bonus. And now back to me. However, I have decided to pass again, which means I will be first in turn order next round. And because I passed, of course, the AI will also pass. So I'm going to go ahead and swap my bonus scoring tile, and I think I'm going to choose this one that has the book for income, as well as the ability to terraform. Let's see how many bonuses I qualify for this round. And it looks like for every 4, I get a terraform action, and because I'm at level 6, I would get to terraform once. However, because of my faction, I'm actually on level 9, for this purpose anyway, which means I can take 2 terraforming actions right away. So I'm going to terraform 1 here, which is only 1 spade away from my native terrain. Now I still have 1 more, so I'll go ahead and place 1 here. And I'll remove all the X tiles from the bottom of the board. Let's place the coin on the scoring bonus tile that I swapped earlier. And let's flip the end of round scoring tile over, indicating that we have completed round number 2. Now we move on to round number 3, but I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I think that should give you an idea of how this variant works. I'll play through until the last round to show you how that works as well. All right, as you can see, I have now reached the end of the 5th round. I have passed, and even though the AI has already passed, I will still place my marker below, and it will go first for the 6th round, which is the last round. But before we get started, I need to first check to see if I met the round tile criteria to receive any bonuses. In this case, it is money. And for the bank track, I did reach level 3. So I would receive 3, but because of my faction, I will actually receive 6 coins instead. Now, I'll remove all the X tiles from the board, including those from my planning board. And I also need to receive, and I forgot from when I passed, my points for every school I built. So far I have built 2 of them, so I get to move up 2 levels of the science track of my choice. I'll choose to upgrade here. 1, 2, that will get me to 3 of those power tokens. And now I'll swap my bonus tile for this one to gain more income. And now that we have completed round 5, we may now flip the area score tile, which is only used in a 2-player game. And it looks like 13 is the number to beat for first place. So far I have built 8 buildings connected, so I don't qualify for first place yet. And I would need 10 to get to second place, but at least I do qualify for third place since I just needed to get 7 buildings. All right, it is now Soloma's turn since it is on the top of the turn order track. So let's flip this one over, and this one says it will take a tile. Now, unfortunately, I was unable to get the last tile. As you can see, it has really focused on gaining these innovation tiles from me throughout the whole game. All right, let's freeze frame for a moment. I wanted to clarify here, the rules state that Soloma only takes up to 2 innovation tiles throughout the entire game. So I should not have kept taking the tiles once Soloma reached 2. Instead, it would just keep skipping that turn and only use the bottom action for moving up tracks. Alright, back to our video. But I was able to get 1 at least. Alright, now the turn is back to me, and I will start with the income phase. And I'll start with the science display, and anything on or above level 9 will receive an income. I am above level 9 for the medicine track, so I will gain 3 points. I will also gain power tokens to be moved around. I would receive 4 more from my round bonus tile, but I already received the max and I filled my bowl 3. But I will receive 2 coins from my bonus tile. I would also gain 2 scholars, but I only have 1 left. 6 money from my guild spaces. And 4 for power tokens, but again, I reached the max. And I will gain 2 tools from my workshop spaces. And I would have received 2 more power tokens from my palace tile, but again, my bowls are empty. And that completes the income phase. And now I can actually go to my action phase. I want to build, so I will terraform first. And since I reached the top of my track, it only costs 1 tool to terraform. And because this terrain is 2 away, I will just spend 2 tools. And I'll place my terrain here. And I'll place my workshop here. And pay the tool and the 2 coins. And now back to the AI. However, I will need to reshuffle since I have already used up all the cards. Alright, looks like the one we flipped is to build. So the AI will build, let's see here. And I would get 2 tokens for the price of 1 point. But since my bowl is completely full, I will not choose to take this option. Now I did forget to flip my city tile from when I completed my city, which allowed me to move up the law track. And now back to me. I would like to upgrade, but I need some tools. So I will use my power tokens to gain some tools. Now back to Soloma. It flips, and this time it's going to pass. It can pass, but the game is over anyway, so it won't matter. Basically, it just skipped its turn. I'm going to spend one of my books to use a bonus at the bottom of the board that allows me to move up 2 spaces up one of the tracks. So I'll move up 2 spaces on the law track. Now back to Soloma. All right, it looks like it will cover 2 spaces from the power and book action. And I'm going to choose the coins from the books action and 1 spade from the power action. All right, the turn is back to me, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. And I'll upgrade this one. All right, that's going to be 3 tools and 5 coins, so I'll swap that out. And because I upgraded, I gain 4 points from the round score tile, bringing my points up to 63. Now, turn is back to Soloma. And it looks like it will try to remove another innovation tile, but because it has emptied them out, it will just get to move up one of the tracks in the science display instead. And now back to me. I'm going to try to squeeze as many points wherever I can, so I'll start investing in sailing. I'll spend my last scholar, pay the 5 coins, and move it up this track, which will gain me 2 points. Back to Soloma. And although I have drawn a scholar placement, there are no more spaces left, so it will skip its turn. Now back to me. I'm going to activate a book power for 5 power tokens. That will cost me 1 book. There's 4. And the 5th one. Back to Soloma. And it will upgrade. So we will upgrade one of its schools and allows me the option to gain 2 more power tokens for the price of 1 point. So I'll take that cost and gain 2 more. Now back to me. But I need tools, and I can get one from this free action to move 6 power tokens. And that will allow me to receive 2 cubes. And now for my main action. I will upgrade one of my guilds, so I'll spend 2 of my tools and 3 coins. Now back to the AI, but we will need to shuffle these first. Again, nowhere to place its scholars, so back to me. I will place one of its X tiles on my acquired innovation tile here, which will let me recover my scholar and gives me 3 points. Now back to Soloma. And it's going to block 2 more actions, but it doesn't have any more on the books action. But I will place one on the bridge power action. All right, back to me, and I will continue to work up the sailing to gain more books. So I'll spend my last scholar again, plus 4 coins. So I'll move up here and gain 2 books. Now back to the AI. And it's going to upgrade, and we will upgrade it here, which will give me a total of 4 for the value of 3, but I'm not going to take this option. In fact, I'm actually going to pass. And now that I've passed, I don't gain anything from passing or from the science track, since that is not provided on the last round. And since the AI automatically passes, we will go straight to the end of game scoring. All right, for the end of game scoring, we will start with the area majority first. The minimum of connected buildings must be 13 or more to gain first place, and since I only have 9, I get third place scoring, which is just 6 points. And now we will move to science scoring. And for the bank track, I am tied for second place, so that will give me just 4 points. All right, let's freeze frame again for a moment. I wanted to clarify here also. It says in the rule books that if there is a tie for the same level, the points for second and third place are added together and then divided by 2. So in my example, we each tied on level 3 for second and third place. That's 6 points total. Now we divide the total between the 2 of us, and each of us get 3 points. Not 4 like I thought. All right, back to our video. I get first place in the law track, so that's another 8 points. I get no points from the engineering track, but I do gain first place in the medicine track, so that's another 8 points, bringing my total to 93. All right, and the last stage of scoring is to add 5 coins you have left over to gain 1 point. And as you can see, I only got 4, so I wouldn't be able to score any. However, the game gives you an opportunity to convert resources into coins. So I'm going to bring in the coins a little bit closer to count them all together. I have 4 coins, but I also have 4 books. And for every book, I can convert it into coin. So that's 4 coins. Then I have 2 power tokens left, and I can convert those for 1 coin each, bringing the total to 10 coins. So that's 2 points, adding to my total of 95 points to finish the game. So I think I should have built more on the board and just gained more points that way, but that's my final score. All right, thanks for joining me on Final Thoughts. So yeah, I got the idea for this solo variant from Kurd on BGG, and his variant was very easy, really low maintenance. They can make the game much quicker, especially when you've had a heavy day, but you just want enough out of a game where you can just focus on your own strategy and not have to think about the maintenance or overhead of an AI opponent. And this variant in particular, playing with Soloma anyway, is just a quick game, but it adds another layer which includes the cards this time. So I guess you can consider 3 different layers or levels of maintenance for this automa. You have the official one, which is a little bit heavier. Then you have your medium, which is this one I just presented. And then finally you have the lightweight level, which is the Fastama. And either way, it doesn't matter which level you play. The game Age of Innovation is really, really amazing. I have enjoyed playing it so far. Mind you, I have never played Terra Mystica, and I have never played Gaia Project. So to me, this is a completely new game. So just standing on its own, this game is really fun to play. It's not a brain burner at all. It's really simple to play. You're just building on your area and building cities and gaining points through science tracks and different layers, different paths to victory, or in this case, higher points. Now, I've played with 3 players, and I've played this one with the official automa, but I have to say, because this can give players analysis paralysis, it can drag on a bit. Now, I sometimes struggled, even playing solo, just trying to figure out my own moves. So having a low maintenance automa really helps. But when you add these quick variants, I'm not feeling as overwhelmed to want to bring it out and play it, because I know it'll just be a much faster game, especially because it's just myself and a couple of cards that I have to flip. Now, not everyone will agree. Perhaps the official automa is the best path, and I can agree to some degree there, but this is more about wanting to play a solo variant with little maintenance. So this video is dedicated for those that feel pretty much the same way as I do. And to me, this just elevated the game a lot more, and there are games that just need that level of ease to play against a solo opponent. But anyway, this was very good experience for me, really enjoyed it, can't wait to get it back on the table. But that's it for me. Until our next board game adventure, hope you had a great time with this one.